The compulsive shoe buyer, played by Miss Horny Honey.
Martin was always a good boy. His grandparents adored him. His parents loved him very much. His teachers had no complaints about him. And his friends, well, he didn't have many friends. In fact, you can say that Martin had no friends. He was a lonely boy. And maybe he was a lonely boy because he was very shy. So he made friends through the internet. He was all over social media. Pringo, Moslo, Mek, even Face Me. He always used the same nickname, a mixture of numbers and letters impossible to memorize. Impossible to remember. But he attracted attention on the internet. He was kind of the R2-D2 or C3PO of cyberspace. He was about 30 years old and had never kissed a girl. In fact, he had never had a girlfriend, which invited everyone to think that Martin was gay. And what difference does it make if he was? That was nobody's business. However, Martin was not gay. He liked girls. In reality, he liked all the girls. Especially their feet. He often imagined kissing a girl, and kissing her feet. Let's say that at night he had intimate dreams thinking about those scenes. But all that was only in his imagination. His shyness would never allow him to make his dreams come true. One day he was looking for a second-hand accessory for his bicycle on NewShop4U, the well-known second-hand gadget website. When he saw the item he was looking for at an irresistible price, he actually stared at the ad next to it. There was a slightly blurry photo and a line under it. "This may interest you." That's what it said under the photo. He forgot about the accessory he was looking for and looked at the ad next to it for a while, because it really interested him. The truth is that he didn't understand why that ad appeared there. He had set the web filters well. Search only 1 kilometer away, bicycle accessories, price less than €10. But there they were. Some well-worn black flats. Or at least that's what it seemed like in that blurry photo. Distance less than 1 kilometer, price €7. He opened the ad. He studied the photos. The 3 photos. The first were the 2 flats next to each other. The second was a detail of the right flat, which had a significant scratch in a very visible area. The third photo showed the flats with the owner's feet. He stared at the third photo for several minutes. How old was that girl? She looked very young. Her skin was white, without a single blemish. She didn't even have moles. He zoomed in on the front. That toe cleavage was delicious. He read the description. Pair of well-worn black flats. I sell them for €7 because they have a big scratch. Martin felt his heart race. He had to contact the saleswoman. Her fingers were sweating as they approached the keyboard. What do I write, he thought. I'm interested. Send. He stared at the chat screen. Nothing. Just 2 minutes later he received a response. Have you seen the scratch? Oh Jesus. She has answered me. Yes, I saw it. I offer you €5. Send. A few seconds later he received a new response. €6 and they are yours. Incredible. He had just bought some used women's shoes for just €6. At that moment he realized that he hadn't even looked at what size they were. 36, a fairly small European size. He also realized that he had not purchased the bike accessory from him. He forgot about that ad, closed that screen, and returned to the search engine. Bike accessories. 1 kilometer, less than €10. A notification sound interrupted him. A number 1 was flashing red in his new messages inbox. When are we meeting? The new message said. My God. I haven't imagined it. That girl sold me her shoes. Now I have to meet her and give her €6 in exchange for her used shoes. New message. Can you meet this Saturday at 8 p.m. at the entrance to McDonald's? Oh. Not impossible. I can't. Too many people. I need a less crowded place. I don't want people to see me pick up something like that. Thoughts raced through Martin's mind. What do you think of Mistral Park next to the fountain? Send. Okay. Saturday. 8 p.m. Mistral Park. Her profile photo with Minnie Mouse's face stopped having a green frame, which changed to red. The saleswoman had disconnected from New Shop for You. There were still several days left. He had time to think about how to undo that madness. Or he could simply forget and not keep the appointment. He breathed easier. Yes, something would occur to him before Saturday. The days passed and Saturday morning arrived. This afternoon. 8 p.m. Mistral Park. Do not miss. But how can I be such an idiot, Martin thought. He had completely forgotten about it. He could barely eat anything thinking about what to do. His mother looked at him worried. Is something wrong with you? No, Mom, he said, smiling sweetly. I still have all afternoon, he thought. Finally, at 7:30, he got dressed and left the house. I pay the €6 and disappear quickly, he said to himself. End of matter. He arrived at the park before 8. Fortunately it was empty because in winter at that time it is already night. It was too late for the children to be playing there. Plus it was cold. He looked at his watch several times. It's been 10 seconds since you looked at the clock 10 seconds ago, you fool, he thought. Every minute passed he looked at the clock an average of 5 times. The last time he looked at it was 8:12. Nobody. Not a soul in the entire park. He could hear the silence and feel the cold on his face. What if the girl doesn't come? A horror passed through his head. Geez, what if a man comes instead of a woman? I have to get out of here right now. I arrive in 2 minutes. Do not go. Is she watching me or what? He thought, terrified. 1,000 ideas ran through his head when he heard the engine of a small motorcycle. The light blinded him as it approached him. Martin was the only person in the entire park. That motorcycle was heading directly towards him. Finally it stopped next to him. The light went off a second after the engine stopped making noise. Are you JD3GG56W9? A very childish voice asked him. Martin's eyes could barely focus after the headlight had blinded his vision. He nodded his head, unable to speak because of the embarrassment he felt. He extended his hand with a bill and a coin. Take and give me the merchandise, he said. I have brought you the right amount. The saleswoman, who was indeed a woman, shrugged her shoulders. I don't understand what rush you're in, JD3. Can I call you that? It's for short. Your nick is too long. My name is Robert, he lied. Delighted, Robert, said the girl. Although you look like your name is Frank. Or Edward. Even Nicholas. Martin observed the saleswoman, this time clearly, under the light of the only streetlight there. How old could she be? 14 years, maybe 16. She smelled good, like one of those perfumes that teenage girls wear. All right. I'm in a hurry, Martin said. Give me the merchandise, please. The girl shrugged her shoulders again. You look like a rookie drug dealer, she told him, laughing. The merchandise. Martin blushed and looked at the ground, embarrassed. He looked at the girl's feet. She was wearing black flats and one of them had a pretty big scratch. You'll have to take them off for me, she said sweetly. Martin opened his mouth like the first time he saw Santa Claus. The girl invited him to sit on a nearby bench, somewhat away from the lamppost. It's your first time, right? She asked him, sitting next to him. Look. Sometimes I sell my shoes online. When they are damaged, or when they are too small for me. But no girl buys second-hand shoes, her parents buy them for her. New, obviously. So I don't sell them in the clothing or accessories section, but in the sports or motorcycle accessories section. Things like that. There is always some fetishist who buys them. Because you are a fetishist, right, JD3? Martin didn't know what to say. He had never considered it. He was quiet for a few seconds and finally asked a question with some logic. If I take off your flats, he said, you'll be barefoot. It doesn't matter, the young woman responded. I will return home on my motorcycle. Martin nodded. The girl did not need to bring another pair of shoes to wear, assuming she wanted to wear her merchandise at the time of sale. Are you going to confess, JD3? She insisted. Are you going to confess that you are a fetishist? Martin shifted on the bench, uncomfortable. He finally nodded his head. Tell me, JD3, what are you going to do with my shoes? Martin thought he saw Santa Claus again. Oh please, darling, shut your mouth, you look like my little brother. Martin hesitated. He hadn't thought about why he wanted that pair of flats. They weren't even his size. If they were at least size 42, he could wear them as slippers at his parents' house. Alone, obviously. I'll tell you what we're going to do, JD3, she said, carefully placing one of her hands on Martin's arm. He didn't dare move a single muscle. And I'll also tell you what I would have liked us to do. Martin felt a chill when he felt that small hand. His arm was frozen, but her hand was burning with heat. She's very hot, he thought, angry with himself for having such thoughts. What we are going to do is the following, she continued. You're going to give me that 5 bill and that coin, and I'm going to take off my shoes. For you. Then I will take my motorcycle and push it a few meters walking barefoot. Then I'll start the engine there. Do you see where I'm pointing this way? The smell of oil and gasoline will not bother you. And you can do whatever you want with your flats. Because they already will be yours. They will still be warm. Martin shuddered on the bench. Just imagining that scene sent a chill down his spine. He looked into her eyes for the first time. She held his gaze. I know what you're thinking, she said. This is what we are going to do. But you want to know what I would have liked. Martin swallowed. The young woman slowly let go of Martin's arm and took the money from his hands. The bill was so wrinkled that the girl wondered if it had lost a little of its economic value. She stood up. They looked at each other in silence. The young woman raised a finger to get Martin's attention and pointed down. Towards her feet. Martin looked down and saw her take off her shoes. That little goddess who was barely 15 years old, that little Lolita, had slowly taken off her shoes for him. Her small bare feet arched at the contact of the cold park ground. Her toes closed like a hawk's claw. Pick them up. They are yours, she told him. And without saying anything else, she ran towards her motorcycle. She pushed it a few meters, and when she reached the point that she had previously pointed out to him, she climbed on. At that moment she looked in the rearview mirror and saw Martin deeply inhaling the flats, which were surrounding his nose. Good boy, she said, smiling. Get on the web tonight, she shouted as she started the engine. I'll tell you in the chat what I would have liked you to do.